An update to the Fifth Horseman accident. Classic hardcore streamer and hardcore admin Calamity Hardcore has announced the admin team, which makes up some members of the raid, will allow anybody who died in the event of Tiny Violin's actions to appeal their deaths and resume their Nax run. Okay, so let's go ahead and watch the clip real quick, and then we'll read some of the comments and listen to what they have to say.
What we're gonna do is we're going to allow anyone who died to Tiny to appeal. We had a rule in the raid that we were not going to appeal any raid deaths because we wanted to avoid situations like someone not understanding the Baron bomb and people going, oh, you know what, guys? That seems like a grief. We should appeal that. We wanted to avoid the situation. Because in our naivety, I don't think we genuinely believed that someone would spend a year gaining our trust to grief us.
Should have expected that.
I thought humanity was better than that.
Wrong.
But, you know, sometimes we're wrong. That's okay. So, we're gonna let everyone who died to Teeny appeal.
Okay.
Yo, Earth.
So what do people have to say about? By the way, I think they're making the right call. They approved bad appeals during leveling, made every effort to metagame to fun out of hardcore. Why is this surprising? Do you have any evidence of this? Let's see. Does he have any evidence of it? They really don't. They just love to meme about it. Fortunately, we won't have to worry about this at all come official. Okay, so there's no evidence. He's just made that up. Okay, death equals appeal, softcore, so hardcore only applies while leveling and doing mundane tasks. So, this is so softcore, that's why I gave no fucks about this, let hardcore rot away. I've always thought, and I will repeat myself, I think that hardcore WoW is always kind of, I think it's always kind of been like a joke, in my opinion. It's like people that are like trying to play hardcore Super Mario or hardcore tic-tac-toe or something like that. It's a very easy game that just takes a lot of time, and you know, if you play it like a pussy, there's no way you'll ever lose. Like, I don't see the... I've really never understood it. It's fun to watch people die. But, like, you know, somebody that, like, actually places value in it, I can't even begin to understand. So, yeah, I definitely see that. However, this is, like, my perspective and the way that I see it, okay? Is that... Is griefing against the rules or not? Like, if you get griefed in a game, or sorry, in hardcore WoW, like somebody brings a dragon on top of you, could you, like, and it kills you, is that griefing? Like, that's obviously griefing, right? And griefing, if you get griefed, you should be able to appeal, right? Yeah, it's a bannable offense, right? Yeah, it's part of the game. Well, yeah, but you can appeal the death. Well, no. Isn't griefing bannable even in retail? Oh, yeah, it always has been. Imagine somebody bringing a tiger IRL to you. Yeah, of course. That's the risk. Yeah, they invited a known griefer. It shouldn't be appealed. Well, like, I don't really think that matters. I actually don't, because, like, they didn't think he was going to do it. Like, I really don't, because, like, the intent of the individual matters. Like, yes, they were naive and stupid to do that, definitely. But I don't think that... Like, for example, if you leave your car unlocked and somebody steals something out of your car, are you stupid for leaving your car unlocked? Yes, but did somebody still steal something and they should be pursued, or, you know, police should arrest them if they find out, you know, who it was? Yes, of course. So, like, both people can still be stupid. It's not like if you leave your car unlocked, everything inside the car is free. So, I don't like this idea that just because, like, they made a lapse in judgment, that this somehow makes it okay to take advantage of that. It's very, very bad line of logic to go down. So I think that fundamentally the rules in Classic WoW, the essence of the rules in my mind is that deaths in Classic WoW should only count against you if they are your fault. Like, that is fundamentally what the essence of the game is. So that means if you get disconnected and, like, you come back and you're dead, that means if somebody pulls, like, a mob on top of you and it AoEs you, that means, like, if somebody somehow gets your character killed while you're in Stormwind, that means if you, like, clip through the ground and you, like, fall to your death inside an instance, all of these things are all, these are all things that should not count against you, and they do not count against you in Hardcore WoW. Like, none of these things count against you, because you can appeal all of them. So what I'm looking at, instead of like, again, like the rules that are written down don't matter to me, because like the rules are what really, the rules paint a picture of an ideal. And what really matters isn't the rules, it's the ideal. And I think that the ideal is that griefing should not count against an individual, because it's something that they cannot really fully control. And like, you can't control another player at all. So I think that if you allow somebody to grief another player and then have that death stick, all you're doing is empowering the griefer, and you are fundamentally siding with a person and giving a person with tremendous malicious intent what they want. You see what I'm saying? Like, so like basically you, at this point, the rules are being used as a tool to hurt people who are innocent. If you buy a bird, don't be surprised when it chirps. So yes, that's definitely true, but people thought that it was not a bird. That's definitely right. And again, if you buy a tiger or something like that, and you buy a dog, a lot of times, like, somebody buys an animal and the animal kills somebody. Well, yeah, obviously this was stupid to buy this animal, but they still put the animal down, right? Because it's just dangerous. The hate watchers for hardcore are going wild today. Well, we'll look at a few of the comments. What if everyone was burned out and they decided not to show KT kill because officials coming out, but to build hype? I don't really think it does that. Yeah, I don't think so. Has it been proven 100% that it was meant to be a grief? If so, then they should appeal. Well, like, okay, so actually this is very, very good insight. Very good way of looking at it. If the guy that griefed them in the hardcore Nax raid went out and said, "It was I, Dio Brando, all along. I did it. I wanted to kill you all along, and I earned your trust for a year. I was friends with you for a year, and I did all these things just so I could kill you at the 11th hour." And he said that. Would you say that it was appealable? Would it be appealable if he outright admitted that it was a grief? No? Well, I think it would be. No, it's softcore at that point, hardcore or not. I don't really think so. I think that's just, it's binary, silly thinking. So what's really, I guess here's an interesting thing, right? Is that what is really the punishment for a person who does something that's bad? Because this is a big problem that WoW has had for a lot of years, is that there is effectively no punishment for bad behavior. And because there's no punishment for bad behavior, well, then you just have a lot of bad behavior. And has that been good for the WoW community? Like, is WoW a better game because of that? I would say absolutely not. It's been horrible for the game. The mass report system is a great example. Yes. So if you allow the utilization of tools to be used in a malicious way, then you are effectively being a tool for the malicious, right? So I think that the intent of the rules is to make sure that players don't get fucked over. Possibility of being permakill due to malicious sabotage is something hardcore players were aware of whenever they chose hardcore. One could even argue it's part of the appeal. I don't really think that's the case, because if somebody was going around... So, like, what's really the functional difference between a person who pulls, like, a NPC on top of you and, like, intentionally griefs you, and somebody who does it in a raid? You could say that, oh, well, you chose to join the raid, which is kind of true, but you also, like, there's no way that a person can realistically, like, let's be honest here, there's no way that a person can realistically predict something like this is going to happen in a year. And even if, like, again, what if Tiny Violin didn't have the reputation of being a griefer? Would that change the way that people view it? No, I don't think so. So people are using arguments that they don't actually even believe. Because I think that to them, this is what they actually believe. They believe that if you die, and that's it. And there is no fine print. There is no extra logic to it or anything like that. Like, all they look at is they see, if you die in the game, that's it, it's over. There's no fine print in hardcore. I disagree. And that's what I'm saying, is that I disagree. So when they wrote this rule in raid as not appeal, they must have missed this. Yeah, it was naive for them to write that. Yeah, it was naive and stupid for them to write that. They shouldn't have done that. That was a mistake to do that. Wants an easy mode? Well, it's not really that it's easy, right? Like, there's no element of difficulty in being able to read a person's mind and know that they'll betray you 1 year into playing with them. Like, you can't know that. It's impossible to know that. Like, that's like saying that anytime, like, I can't even imagine that line of thinking. It's good drama, though. Yeah, it is. So, this is really what happens. Please don't open the appeal Pandora's box. Well, I think that you have to. And again, like, this is what I think is going to happen with Hardcore WoW. Is that I think we're going to see a lot more of this stuff. World of Warcraft was never meant to be a hardcore game. And you're going to see people that are going to get each other killed in Hardcore WoW over and over and over. It's going to be so evident that it's completely unfair and it's completely out of this person's control. It's going to kill the entire community. And it's going to look like a joke. Because World of Warcraft was never meant to be a hardcore game. It's not designed that way. But people are trying to turn it into this, and in the process of turning it into this, you can't just slightly change the rules and then expect everything else is going to just magically fall into place. You can't just add a rule onto a game that fundamentally changes the way that it's played and then expect there to be no collateral damage. Like, there is going to be collateral damage. Dude removes people's world buffs, gets known for it. There were no indicators that he would ever grief hardcore players. What? Yeah, but like, and this is what I'm saying. So I want to explore some of this logic, okay? And I want to explain to you guys why I'm saying this. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's read this. Guy removes people's world buffs and gets known for it. There were no indicators that he would ever grief hardcore players. What? Let's assume that he made a completely new character. Would you allow them to appeal if he made a completely new character and they had no idea that it was him all along? It was a completely fake account. Like, he wasn't Tiny Violin, he was Big Oboe. Yeah, would you, like, in that case, would you have allowed him to appeal? Assuming that they didn't know it was him. I'm 100% in favor of death equal delete in any situation. That's how I play. Then why would you use this argument? Why would you bring this up if it doesn't even matter? I don't understand. That's my whole point. Is it why are you using an argument that doesn't work if that's actually not even what you think to begin with? Yeah, you've contradicted yourself. Yeah, why would it even matter? Like, why would it matter who it is if you say it doesn't matter who it is? Hardcore player mentality as trolls are part of the gameplay? Well, that's not true. Apparently it's not. There's people that don't think that. Because he has no argument. It's personal standard that means nothing to anybody else. Yes. I brought it up. As you said, there's no way they could have known that he would do this, all I'm saying. No, I didn't say that. I explicitly didn't say that. I said that griefing, I was talking in a general state. That if you played with somebody who randomly betrays you after 1 year, just in a general sense, that's not your fault. Like, I never was talking about this specific thing. Does that make sense? Like, I was just talking about it in a general sense of there is no added difficulty of avoiding being griefed because you can have something like this happen that is so long-term that there's no way for you to realistically prevent it. That's all I said. That was my point. So yeah, dude griefed once. That's one too many times for him to ever earn my trust again. Yeah, but does that... Like, I don't understand why people are attaching themselves to the argument of that he was a griefer, so then they're wrong, whenever, in their mind, even if he wasn't a griefer, they'd still be wrong. Why are you even using an argument that doesn't have anything to do with what the point of view is? It doesn't even make sense. It's so, like, what's wrong with the... I guess, I mean, these are the people that got filtered from Ulduar, right? So, I mean, I guess it makes sense that they're not very smart, but still, I mean, God, this is embarrassing. This could be abused. Well, aren't these people being abused now? I mean, aren't you choosing between two groups of people that are being abused? Like, I don't understand. What's the logic in that? I feel like a big argument people are using is if you get to appeal X, you get to appeal Y. Okay, this is what I think. All right, I'm going to write out, this is the verdict. Okay? The guild is not at fault for the deaths. Official hardcore realms cannot allow appeals. Griefers should be banned. Being griefed is not the player's fault, even if they can mitigate its damage. Okay, why can't they allow appeals? Because I don't think Blizzard has the resources to do that on a large scale. So, I think this is obviously... you should be able to appeal a grief if, no matter the circumstance. If the evidence provided is substantial enough. So these are the things that I think. Okay? It's that simple. How do griefers stand trial? How are they convicted? Well, the people that run it make a decision, and then that's it. If they're seriously publicly punished for griefing, then they could handle the appeals, maybe? Yeah, but that's not really going to happen. You can't know for sure if he griefed. Let me give you a little bit of a surprise. In every single court case that's ever happened, nobody knows for sure that people are guilty. 99% of court cases, they're not 100% sure. They're like 90% or 95 or 98%. 2 and 5 are contradictory. Oh, you're right. This is before Hardcore Realms. Hardcore official. Yeah, I just mean like in the current state that it is now. Yeah, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. I think that it is it was obvious that he did it on purpose, right? I mean, come on. I don't think Blizzard Hardcore will do anything, yes. Bean said Calamity's bubble hearth before. They're cheating piece of shit anyway. Am I the only person that thinks that this entire hardcore thing is fucking ridiculous? I've said this for a year now. This is just so fucking stupid and ridiculous. It's a joke. Yeah, it's a fucking joke. Watching bots do a one mechanic boss and then something goes wrong and they just... Oh my god, Petri! Jesus Christ. It's so pathetic. Classic Hardcore official servers will be dead in after a few weeks anyway. Well, of course it will be dead. Because whenever you have a player that's able to do something like this and ruin everybody, like, the worst thing to happen, so this is how you create toxicity in games. You create toxicity by creating mandatory or pseudo-mandatory friction between players in which one player can negatively affect another player's experience. That's how you create, that's how like 95% of toxicity in video games is created in an abstract sense. And the fact is that with Hardcore WoW, like, why wouldn't somebody wipe their group? Why wouldn't they do this? Because Blizzard can realistically, they're never going to be able to tell whether somebody's actually griefing or not. And they probably won't ban somebody unless they admit it. So you're going to have people constantly that are wiping raids, getting people killed, and they're doing it in a soft enough way to where it's very hard to tell whether it was on purpose or not. And this happens for a few times, and it's like, why would anybody want to play a version of the game that they could just randomly have hundreds of hours of their time wasted through no fault of their own? Isn't that part of hardcore that you die? Well, what I'm saying is that the essence of hardcore WoW, I think, is that death equals delete, but I don't think it's very fun or interesting whenever you just die because of somebody griefing you. And then, okay, well, now it's over. Yeah, they could have, play softcore then? Well, why not just have it, instead of having, why is it so hard for people to accept that people might want to play hardcore, but they don't want to surrender the entire state of their character to fate or a malicious actor? Like, isn't there a middle ground here? I think that there is. For me, hardcore is just a single-player event, taking time with the games. Yeah, I think so. Not in hardcore? Well, that's what's going to happen with Blizzard's hardcore servers. And all I'm saying is that it's going to create a ton of toxicity. It's going to make people even more mad at each other. It's going to... I think it will kill the servers. I don't see this lasting for very long. Because as soon as people realize they have this much power, and all they have to do is risk an account for it... Oh, bro, like, as soon as somebody's ready to quit the game, they're gonna do this. Like, how many, videos have you guys seen back in the day of people that ninja loot, like, a chest or something like that before they quit a game? A lot of them, right? Like, I used to watch these regularly, like, all of these ninja loot videos and stuff. You? Oh, no, I never quit. But, yeah, so, like, why would like, if you were in hardcore WoW, like, wouldn't you love to do that? Like, you quit, you don't like your guild anymore, and you just fucking wipe your raid? Wouldn't that be fucking awesome? And then all of their characters are gone and destroyed, and that's it, and there's nothing that they can do about it, and you get to quit the game and you destroy everybody else in the process. Wouldn't that be awesome? Absolutely. Because fuck them, that's why. Yeah, especially if they ever BM'd you. Yeah, exactly. You feel like you got skipped for Ashkandi, you deserved it, the other guy didn't. Well, guess what? Now you killed everybody in the raid because you taunted the boss while he was casting Shadow Flame Breath. And everybody's dead, and you're quitting the game anyway. You've got to go back to college. So fuck you guys. I'm taking my toys and I'm going home. Yeah. That's actually how it is. I think you take that risk running the raid with anyone. It's malicious if you put yourself in that. Well, I think that I think that you do take that risk, but the fact that there is a risk with that is going to mean that nobody will enjoy doing it. Now, what do you think about the 4 Horsemen placement? Calamity herself said the boss was in the wrong place. No. Enough evidence for wrong corner. My bad. Come on. So anyway, let's see here. We'll read some of the posts about this. There are 700 comments about this situation. It's the top voted post on Classic WoW. Yeah, it's going to kill rating. Yeah, it's going to completely kill rating. If a tank accidentally pulls a Nixia because he lags, how do you prove he's griefing? You can't. You take the risk of getting hit by a car when you go outside so you can't complain whenever you get hit. Yeah, exactly. It's a very silly way to look at it. You can only make this massive mistake once. It's clear that if this happens again, it's a grief. What do you mean if it happens again? What are you talking about if it happens again? There's no... It can't happen again. On the official realm, the characters are dead. They're done. There's no next time. It's finished. And who's to say somebody else won't join the raid and they're leveling up a character right now because they want to be that guy next year? Hardcore Andes legit have brain tumors? Well, they just don't think. Yeah, they're just not thinking. Pilly, not all that surprising. Pretty illustrative of the slippery slope of forgiving deaths in hardcore, with the add-on appeals have always been a thing, but raid deaths have explicitly been unappealable. Suddenly this happens and lo and behold, they're willing to forgive raid deaths. This is why death appeals should never have been a thing for a game mode that's supposed to be hardcore. I actually disagree with this, and do you guys remember whenever I said that hardcore official servers might kill hardcore because there's no appeals? Do you remember whenever I said that? Yes, that's right. Or you don't even play the game? Well, the coach doesn't play the game, but he knows it better than everybody else, so here I am. Anyway, the fact is that whenever you have the appeal system, you take out that element of unfairness. And I think that if you have a hardcore version of the game, I think that you need appeals. The truth is, I think that you actually need appeals. You can't have a functional version of the game without appeals. And the idea that raid deaths should have been explicitly unappealable was stupid in the beginning. So them changing a stupid rule to not be stupid doesn't make them stupid now. It makes them stupid whenever they made the rule. They should have never done that. Similar to disconnect deaths in hardcore, you need appeals for deaths that were not in control of the player. Exactly. Can you just fuck the entire raid team on Baron Geddon? People will avoid or re-strategize those bosses. Well, on official hardcore servers, you also would have people get banned. So, let me explain. Okay. All right. So we're going to have a chart. Okay? And I want to grief someone. Okay? This is a person that wants to grief someone. And there are two outcomes that can occur. All right? And outcome number one. And here's outcome number two. So, the question is that how do you get a person who wants to be a griefer to not be a griefer and say, never mind, this is a waste of time? It's actually not banning them. Banning them doesn't do it. Nothing is lost. Griefer banned. Sorry, this is a little bit too small. Or a little bit too, yeah, it's too big. Yeah, we'll just go in right here. I just want you guys to understand how this works. Okay, so this is what happens. Do you understand? This is like banning murder, except it's allowed in large groups. You can't target grief a single person, but you're allowed to do it at large scale. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. Is there anybody who can argue with this logic? Griefer is banned in both cases, though? Yeah. I don't think griefer being banned matters. Yeah, can anybody beat this logic? I'm open to any argument. Logic is invalid. I'd like to explain. Okay, please explain. It doesn't work? All right, we're gonna explain. Here we go. Okay, please explain. Here we go. If a death is appealed and the griefer is banned, they will make a new account, and they will have more to go after. What? If a death is appealed and griefer is banned, they will make new account, and they will have more people to go after. How would they have more people? Analyzing the mind. Yeah, this is what it's called. I'll put it over here. I've typed, because they can repeat on the same person and probably grief others before they get banned. I don't play hardcore WoW. Well, if you did, you'd understand why this doesn't make any sense. So why would you tell me that my logic is wrong if you don't even play the game that I'm talking about? How do you even know that my logic is wrong if you don't even play the game? It doesn't even make sense. The griefer. So all they have to do is just spend 300 more hours. Big ego, smart. And this is, I want you guys to understand. This is the people that think that they have an argument. These are the people that say Asmon doesn't listen to other points of view because they never can they don't even know what they're saying. Does anybody else have an argument against this? We'll read it, and we'll see what they have to say. The logic is flawed. Okay, all right, let's read it. The logic is flawed since it's impossible to uphold the current Blizzard policy. A non-biased GM and system doesn't exist. Would you ban everyone involved with Devil Swarm Mafia or Elemental Mafia? The lines become blurred instantly. Because it's impossible to uphold a current Blizzard policy. So basically, you're saying that it's impossible to do this because Blizzard is because Blizzard is bad. Okay, well then, so what you're saying is that you're actually not saying that the logic is flawed. You're saying that it's impossible for this to happen because like this I think like this logic is sound. It's just that your argument is that it's not possible for it to occur in the first place. Let me try. Okay, all right, we'll get another one. Okay. All right, let me try. You're next. Blizzard are too cheap to investigate appeals, and you're right. Wait, T-Muxy says something else. Let me read it real quick. If you could determine who was griefing and who wasn't, sure. Okay, so then yes. Okay, so then it works. Right. Okay, I thought so. Yeah, I exactly. Let's see next. And I think that you're right, by the way. I don't think, and Blizzard knows this. Blizzard is obviously not going to do this. They're not going to make the right decision. Like, there's never been a judicial system, whether it's like League of Legends or the United States government, that is flawless. It never existed. I don't think that the absence of perfection means that you should not try, though. Okay, I think you're forgetting about the instant reward a griefer receives just for completing the grief. That's what they live for. I disagree with this as a griefer. Because if I knew that all of my efforts would be immediately invalidated, like if I ninja looted something from somebody and I knew that they were just going to put in a ticket and then have it given back to them, then it wouldn't really matter to me, because the outcome, like I don't get a desired outcome. I'm not getting what I want. Also, I don't think that they would be mad because they would know that they just got griefed. Like, that's why, for example, Zaryu and these people stopped getting griefed in Classic WoW. Like, you notice that not that many people are trying to drag mobs on top of Zaryu anymore? Do you know why? It's because he knows he's going to get them appealed. So the effect that the griefer has is nerfed. So they don't do it. Like, that's the exact point. There's no point to it because the effect goes away. And then the person who's getting griefed knows it goes away. So they don't get mad in the first place. It doesn't go down to 0, but it's nerfed. Yes, it's massively nerfed. Griefers love that first moment whenever they get the person, whether they get the character back or not. They may not even know. They love the instant mauled. That's the reward. Personally, I love the idea of knowing how much time I wasted. And, like, I love the idea of knowing that I fucked somebody over in a massive way. Like, I didn't like, oh, wow, I've inconvenienced you for 5 minutes. Haha, I got you. And also, I wasn't going to get my account punished either. Like, if I was going to lose my account to mildly inconvenience somebody for a small period of time, I would not do it. The reason why griefing happens is the same reason why anything happens. It's because the positives of it happening outweigh the negatives of it happening. So if the positive of it happening, and also like griefing, for example, let me think of a good example for this. Sitting on the arena keepers. Do you remember back in Burning Crusade, whenever Tauren druids would sit on top of the arena masters in Burning Crusade? People would sit on top of the arena masters in Burning Crusade, and they would do that over and over and over, and they would make it to where people couldn't interact with the arena master. Then, as more players learned how to target things through nameplates, this no longer became an issue. So players were able to just completely circumvent this problem, and the griefer was still able to sit on top of the arena master, and it was still annoying. But it didn't really inconvenience anyone for a considerable amount of time. So the effect that it had was nerfed, and then people stopped caring. So that's a good example of it. I'll think of a few more examples. Killing quest givers is another good example. So if you kill a quest giver, and let's say you're sitting in Westfall, if the Defias messenger was way faster, and the time that it took for him to respawn was basically instantaneous, would there be a reduced or increased or neutral effect that it would have on the amount of people that were doing griefing? Because I think it would reduce the effect. Because the reason why you kill the Defias messenger whenever he gets into Moonbrook is because whenever you do that, you have subtracted 10 minutes or 15 minutes from that player's life. If he started in Moonbrook, the reward wouldn't be that big, because you're not wasting anybody's time. So I actually think that the reward of griefing is directly proportional with the amount of time that you can waste of the other person, of the amount of the other person's time that you waste. So like if you inconvenience them for 30 minutes, it matters a lot less than if you inconvenience them for 30 hours. You see what I'm saying? I used to have, here's another example. I used to have people send me mail in WoW, and they would send me like 1,000 mails, like letters, to try to make it to where like my mailbox was full and I couldn't use it. Then I was able to just put them on ignore and then report them for doing it. And then I don't know if their account got banned or not, but it would just instantly delete all of their mail because they were on ignore. And as soon as I realized that I could do this, and people saw me do this, nobody sent me mail like that anymore. It completely stopped happening. And do you know why? It's because it no longer had the power to inconvenience me for a considerable amount of time that would make that person feel like they were getting a reward out of it. So does that make sense? Let me go ahead and read this. I totally disagree. Okay, give me an example of something that used to be a huge waste of time, and now it's not a waste of time at all in WoW, that was a grief, and people still do it all the time. Yeah, he did say fair enough. All right, good talk. It's fine. Yep, good. What if I RMT cheap accounts to grief the exact same person several times, then he quits appealing? Well, you're going to eventually run out of money, and why would you keep griefing the exact same person every single time? Yes, there's always a way to get around this, but again, yes, theoretically, if somebody is a multi-millionaire that wants to continue buying hardcore WoW accounts at level 60, like, what are we doing here? What are we talking about? Like, you're just making up, like, a fucking, like, a 1%, 1%, 1% thing. Like, why are we even talking about that? Like, I'm talking about something that happens, like, 99% of the time. Put me up, let me cook. All right, we're going to do 2 more, and then we're going to finish this, okay? Because it's fairly obvious that nobody can understand this. Okay, let's go. All right, please explain how the logic is wrong. Let's go. Let's let them cook. How does Blizzard officially verify a grief? That's not part of the argument. That's not part of it. So I don't understand. What does that have to do with what I said? I don't understand. Did he burn the food? I have a scenario that works. Please left start. All right. We're gonna get you in next, okay? I think getting to never mind, this is a waste of time only happens if an official appeal happens and they get their character back, but how do they appeal? Well, they would send a message to Blizzard and say, hey, I got disconnected or something like that happened. This person brought Tiramis the Devourer on top of my character while I was questing in the Blasted Lands and got me killed. How does anybody appeal anything? How does an appeal happen in general? Blizzard's customer service is turbo ass. Okay, so you actually don't have an argument. Okay. So your argument is not that the logic is wrong, it's that Blizzard is bad. Okay. Next. Alright, somebody says they have a scenario. Let's go ahead and read it. I have a scenario where the logic or griefer mindset. Okay. Alright, you're next. Let's go. When the griefer is performing the griefing task on the grief victim, and the griefer looks to grief during the task window, while the grief victim is going to feel the maximum impact of it. The grieved person needs to live with the grief during the anti-grief system to process to invalidate it, to underdo the process. Therefore, the grief being griefed upon the grieved person by the griefer has still griefed significantly. So you're saying that having to do an appeal is griefing in itself? Well, you're right, but if a person risks their account by having to grief somebody, then they're also griefing themselves as well. Is he trolling? Well, that's not really true, right? This can't be a real argument. None of them are. Now, if you ban me from chat and remove the time it took to read that out of the VOD, this will be a... Okay, alright. At least that one's kind of funny. Alright, next. Let's see here. If you're brave, you'll read my posts. Okay. Alright, we'll read your posts. Jesus Christ. Okay, there's a lot here. There exists an edge case. Oh, and there's an edge case. Okay, so this is like where a griefer might be able to create new accounts for Blizzard and take advantage of free trial playtime. For this, attrition is meaningless to them, and another week is plenty of time. But you can't. Oh, you fucking kidding. What's the max level you can get to in a free trial account? 20. Why are people expecting 100% perfect system? Because they want people think that they're smart because they can understand an exception. Time out again. Yeah, you're getting timed out again. This is the dumbest one I've ever heard. Yeah, this is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You're not wrong, though. Blizzard isn't capable of this. I think that Blizzard is it doesn't matter if they're capable or not because they're not going to do it. I have a take. Feel free to ban me if you disagree. Okay. One more. It's not even that, dude. You ask anyone, you asked if people could find fallacy in your logic, and they're trying to create different scenarios that don't have anything to do with what you're talking about. Do you know why? It's because they're dumb. That's why. Yeah, it's actually really simple. Okay. All right, let's go. Last one. This is the last one. I might have one flaw inside this logic. That's a bit outside the box. Okay, so you're talking about another 1% inside of a 1% that's actually a theoretical that doesn't even make sense in the first place. No, I please spare me. Yeah, he's cooking. Guys, let him cook. Let's go. Literally everything, every box that you make related to WoW should just be an arrow pointing to never mind. This is a waste of... Okay, fuck you. Okay, can we get one real one at the end? Let me see. Okay, this guy has been spamming for a long time. All right, here we go. Allow me to try as an outsider. Okay. Sure, go ahead. Your last box assumes Blizzard can tell the difference between a real appeal and lying. Doesn't their support use Autobots? How are you determining real griefs? I know a little bit about how much information Blizzard has and how much data they have to go off of for like player snapshots and everything, and you'd be really surprised what they have. They have like fucking XYZ telemetry, coordinates, time frames, movement, interactions, key presses, everything. They're just not doing shit with it? Yeah, they're not doing anything with it because they don't care and it's not worth their money. Okay, so Hardcore WoW has rules in place. It's not Blizzard's job to police hardcore death appeals. The griefer knows this, so the burden falls onto the people you raid with. So if the griefer knows Blizzard won't do anything about it, then the griefer wins. The sole burden, it's S-O-L-E. It's soul, like individual. Falls onto people who they raid with in the end. I can tell that you are an outsider. Please stop typing. You don't even know enough about the game to construct an argument. You don't even understand the game enough to even have an argument. What are you doing? Can we just have one decent one? This is the I feel like, can we at least have one person that brings up something that's just like not immediately? These people have wasted your time. Okay. All right. Let's get your legit point. No more cooking, please, Aspen. We're full. Isn't it scary to see the way that these people are so adamant and they're so sure of something that makes no sense? It's scary. It really is. It's pretty insane. Yeah, it's just very disturbing. WoW is known to have griefers. We know this. So if you're so worried about dying in hardcore WoW, why not play regular classic? I hope you know that, guys, I'm taking a lot of people. I'm not saying the griefers should go unpunished, but we are playing hardcore because we are playing on the edge with one life. This is the best I can come up with. I only make this point because of how horrible the opposing arguments are. So your argument is that hardcore is hardcore. What does that have to do with this? Did you forget about the chart? What does this have to do with the chart? That doesn't have it, like, what do you... It doesn't even make sense. I can cook, Chief. No, you can't. No, I think that we've had enough. It doesn't even make sense. This is just so sad. We've had enough cooks, okay, guys? We've had too many cooks. None of this makes sense. The intention of the griefer matters. He knew this playstyle of his party and made a calibrated choice to disrupt their gameplay. Therefore, Blizzard needs to take action. Yeah, and so anyway, let's read some of the comments. I know we've kind of gone off on the edge about this, but I would just like, yeah, kitchen's closed, guys. I would just like to display some of the minds at work here. None of these people have any logic or reasoning at all. They're arguing against points that I didn't make. They're creating imaginary situations that don't make sense. They oftentimes don't even play the game enough to understand what's even being discussed. But they're so adamant and they're spamming, please, please let me prove you wrong. You don't even know what you're talking about. So I just want you guys to see this. That these are the minds of these people. A griefer will never think something is a waste of time. Griefers don't care about their own time. They only care about the time of others. That's not true. And I think it is true to an extent. But the extent is what we're talking about. And if they only care about the time of others, then what about if the time is that they waste is 5 minutes versus 50 hours? Which one are they going to care about more? Which one's going to make them... Which one will make them take action? There's a ratio. Yeah, there's a ratio. This chart only makes sense if griefer doesn't personally have a beef against other players. Yeah, there are always going to be people that are going to, act outside of that. So let's read a few of these comments. Only the add-on users are the true hardcore. Damn, you're grouping for a dungeon. That's not very hardcore of you, my man. But yeah, restore my character on the add-on. Now that's hardcore. I think that the dungeon restrictions were stupid anyway. This is why, as much as I like solo self-found, I want official hardcore servers already. A good amount of these same players already used appeals to stay alive. Now they're granted by the admins of their own guild. These players should be dead and there should be no appeal. I mean, I wonder how these people would feel if somebody killed their character in a way that they had no control over. Right? Like, if they lost their character that they invested, 200 hours into, and it was just immediately removed, like, would they care? And also, like, let's assume it happened once, right? But let's assume it happens 3 times. Do you think they're going to keep playing for number 4? No, I don't think so. An argument hinges on your opinion that griefing is useless if the player gets their character back. It's not useless, it's just massively nerfed. Another example of why an appeal system is bullshit is Soul Self-Found fan as well. Having no appeals is definitely one of the biggest highlights of Official Classic. I don't know why people are celebrating the idea that they can get killed by a disconnect. Like, I really just don't understand the mind of these people. Why would you celebrate that? That's bad. It's so stupid. Like, okay, somebody gets you killed on purpose, and now you have to waste, like... Do you have no respect for your own time? It's ridiculous. The reactions after the wipe is the ultimate goal. If they continued knowing it was grief and finished up to KT, the griefer wouldn't have as much to gain, as much pleasure. Yeah, exactly. If everybody that did that raid was like, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll just have to get our buffs back and try again tomorrow, and we'll just appeal this and then get the guy banned, I don't think the guy would have probably done it. That's the truth. Feels like they don't play, and that's why they hold their shitty opinion. Yeah, or they're like level 18. So they investigated themselves and found they did nothing was wrong. World first, Hardcore Kel'Thuzad is going to come with a pretty hefty asterisk if that's how it's achieved. People will forget about World first, Hardcore Kel'Thuzad whenever retail hardcore is out anyway. I think that's implying that people are going to care to begin with. It doesn't really matter. Most aren't willing to already deleted their character. Recruit a known griefer. It doesn't matter. That doesn't really make a difference. Kill a 17-year-old boss, claiming a unique achievement. Pathetic. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I just think that these people are... I think that they're so naive. Yeah, I think that time will prove me right. Is that as soon as you start seeing this happen on the official hardcore servers, and the effect of it is like seen by players, because I think that people might not really understand the negative effect that it has on the entire rest of the player base whenever something like this happens. Because whenever somebody realizes that, hey, I can lose all of my time just to something that is literally a malicious action by another player that I can't control, that's a massive reason not to play the game. Yeah, they're just not going to raid. They're not going to play the game. Listen, now they're surprised to get grief by a supposed friend. Basically, they know they'll appeal it, and it's going to be no big deal tomorrow. Yeah. Why would we want safety nets for a hardcore server? If you really value your time, you're so worried about griefers, and hardcore isn't for you. So you're saying that, like, unless you want... That's so weird. Like, couldn't you just say that about any game? That if you... Why have any rules in any game... Because there's going to be griefers in any... It doesn't even make sense. People are doing this kind of griefing in retail too. Hardcore is just a bigger dopamine hit for them. Of course it is, because it does more damage. That's my whole point. To be fair, hardcore players don't even respect their own time by playing hardcore. Yeah. Any other ideas to take power away from griefers? Well, here's what I think is going to happen, okay? To be fair, by the way, I thought this was fucking hilarious. Like, yeah, obviously the guy should probably get banned for it, and it's horrible that it happened to him, but I thought it was fucking hilarious. There you go. Sorry, guys. It was funny. Here's also the truth, is that having no appeals is going to end up killing Hardcore WoW on the official servers. The only reason that Hardcore WoW functions is because of the, it's because of the appeal system. You can't put your faith in other people like it does with Hardcore WoW, and then be like, okay, well, you're effectively trying to put a square peg in a round hole. Hardcore WoW is like a fucking, it's a stupid fucking idea. Fundamentally, it is a stupid fucking idea. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't work with the way the game is designed. It's just antithetical to what the game is. So if you try to push a game mode into a game that doesn't make any sense, you're going to have friction. And that friction is mitigated by the appeal system. Because anybody who plays WoW knows that there are these extenuating circumstances that you just can't control for. Like disconnects, like weird bugs, or like anything like that. And the truth is that if you can't appeal that, why would anybody want to play the game? Blizzard would have to hire many people. Yeah. Extremely stupid idea. Yes, it's a very stupid idea. So Blizz just needs a strong and fair appeal system. Yeah. But I don't think they're going to do that. I think that it's going to end up killing Hardcore WoW. Because people who do this kind of stuff, it's massively entertaining, right? Everybody loved the video. Like, look at this. I was actually talking to Zach about this like a couple of hours ago. The video for this thing came out yesterday. It has 820,000 views. It's 1 hour long. People fucking love this. They absolutely love it. They think it's amazing. They think it's fucking hilarious. They think it's great. With So Calculate, this is insane, man. What's more hardcore than playing a psychopath at any point that can turn on you? Truly a maniac. Immediately compensated for the taunt with Mocking Blow. Really truly knows what he's doing. This is one of the best Asmongold videos because it goes 100% nerding on WoW. Yep. There we go. He's a man of focus, commitment, and sheer fucking will. We absolutely need to interview this guy. This mindset is such a villain and absolutely worth a dissection. Because people like watching documentaries about Jeffrey Dahmer. People like watching serial killer stuff. They don't care about the victims. They don't matter. People want to be entertained, whether it's in the Coliseum, whether it's through serial killers, or whether it's through UFC. Nobody gives a fuck about the people that are involved. All they want to do is see bread and circuses. And I'll tell you something, this is a fucking circus. It is amazing. It is great content, and over 800,000 people voted that it was great content in one fucking day. It is a hour-long YouTube video. This was massive. People love this. And you know why? Because it's fucking funny. And as soon as people realize that they can be the next person who everybody's talking about and everybody's tweeting about, they're going to start harassing and they're going to start griefing. Because at the end of the day, this guy might have lost his account, but who gives a fuck about that? He has probably made thousands of dollars. He kickstarted an actual career on Twitch, and now he's getting massive amounts of people talking to him, giving him money, and he's successful in a way that nobody else in this guild is, by the way. And all of that, and people thought it was funny. So yes, I do think it will kill Hardcore Classic if they let this stuff happen. I do. Because the reward is too big. He might even start a griefing community. Yes, absolutely. Does IP ban fix this? No, it doesn't. If that's true, it doesn't take account. It's actually malicious. It doesn't matter if it's funny or not. Once it happens to you, it won't be funny. That's because nobody has empathy. No, it's because nobody cares. You see, everybody here admits if this had happened to you, you would be super upset, right? It would be awful. But it didn't. It happened to them, and that's why it's funny. Yeah, that's the whole reason why it's fucking funny, because it didn't happen to them. It didn't happen to me. How can I prove that he even griefed if he denies it? I think it's, I mean, most people that are convicted of crimes deny it. Jail is full of innocent men. There's a counter-argument? No, I'm not going to read your counter-argument. That doesn't make any sense. Please do not give me your counter-argument. Please stop it. Yeah, I don't want to hear another, oh, I've got a point of view. No, you don't. You don't even know what you're talking about. Let's see here. So yeah, everybody is shitting on these guys. And so look at what happened. This person clearly did something, like in my mind, I think that they 100% did it on purpose, right? They 100% did it on purpose. It's without a shadow of a doubt. And now the entire community is supporting punishing the players for playing with them. So they're actually supporting the harassment. And do you know why? It's because it's funny. That's why. It's because it's funny. So, yeah, I think Blizzard just, I mean, if they the thing is, Blizzard has had a hands-off policy with their community for years. And, this is what you get. Yeah, I saw this. And there it is. The biggest grief in WoW history. They burning Thane. Lightning mob will one-shot them all. Lol. You just need the chain. Can you play like insane noises in Discord so no one can hear? Act normal. Get mob to stay middle. Play inside flashbang noise in your Discord. And have your Discord desktop playing in the Discord so raid leader can't make any calls. 5 seconds into the fight, bring the mob Thane to the corner and hold them. Giga chain. Taunt spam whenever you can to keep it on the stack. Enough marks and chaos goes out. Full wipe. You got that? What do you mean stay in middle? I'm starting on Zeliek. Like on the stairs. Grab him. Giga chain. and that's what really matters. Yep. Because people think it's funny. I think it would be better if he didn't fake it. No, it definitely is better that he faked it. Because that way, you have people who are deliberately, like, intellectually dishonest that are going to pretend and troll by saying that he didn't mean to do it. And so it creates, like, another layer of trolling inside of it. It's like meta-trolling. And saying that they assigned him on Zeliek? Well, would it matter if he just... What would it matter if they... Who they assigned him to? Like, even if they didn't assign him on Zeliek, you could just have him taunt Zeliek anyway. The overwhelming majority of people playing hardcore are just having fun leveling, dying, and leveling over and over. They aren't thinking about max. Only a tiny majority of them will make it to 60. Why would this kill hardcore whenever it's mostly people leveling? Because all of the people that are leveling are always recording themselves in case they die to a disconnect. That's why we see so many hardcore death appeals and how many hardcore death clips. It's because people are all recording themselves in case they die. Or they get griefed. That's why. Because even leveling matters. This will not last long. Every death will be appealed regardless of cause, or griefers will ruin hardcore. It's either one or the other. Hardcore WoW was always a joke. I'm surprised it lasted and got as far as it did. Anyway, yeah, either way, it won't really matter. It won't matter on official hardcore servers because death equals delete and that's it. So you're going to have way more people that are spamming this kind of stuff, that are griefing, because to them, yeah, they lose an account, but the other person could lose way more than that. Yep, actual hardcore players, and they will realize the folly of their ways. I think it's going to be fucking hilarious.